And so much of this has to do with you honoring like that unique soul codex that you came here with, right? So at the beginning, when I was speaking to you about being spirit led and being a vessel, right? This is a way that your energy works. It is something that you have been coded with since birth. Okay. And I guess a way to put it, it's almost like your energy mechanics, how you run your energy and all the ways of being expression that you have access to. So I don't want you to confuse this with mindset, identity, or personality, or some kind of outer persona. What I'm really talking about is literally energy. It is the unseen aspect to you that cannot be tangibly, seen or expressed, but it's something that is deeply felt. Okay. And like I said, I feel that so many of us who came to really operate in this way, we get corrupted because we start looking for things outside of ourselves, right? We essentially become corrupted with external energy. It's like our templates, our blueprint, it almost gets like contaminated, for lack of a better words. And you have to understand that your vessel has a very specific energy configuration, right? It's coming back home to the truth of who you are and how your energy really works. And this isn't like a one size fits all approach because everybody's energy is unique, okay? Welcome back to the Shadow Priestess Embodied. I'm your host, Kaylin Rakowski, and thank you for joining me today for another deep dive and exploration into your inner world, into your body, the shadow realms, where we will begin to explore some of these esoteric principles and really begin to drop them down into modern day application and embodiment. This is a sacred place where you can begin to truly meet yourself, meet your medicine, and to meet your magic. This is a place of remembrance. Take a deep breath and let's begin. Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Shadow Priestess Embodied podcast. I'm your host, Kaylin Rakowski, and I'm so excited to be here with you all today. So, what I really want to dive into today is what it really means and looks like to live a spirit led life. And what really brought this conversation into my own awareness today is reflection. I was sitting in reflection, just looking back at past experiences, opportunities, obstacles, right? These bumps, these turns in the road that I couldn't really see were truly happening for me, were assisting who I was becoming. And, I think when we look back on our lives and we can look at it from a higher perspective, we can see where, God has always been guiding us back into alignment. And what I've come to realize is that even before I was fully conscious to it, I was acting as a vessel. I was acting as a channel for something greater than self, whether you call this God, universe, higher self, Gaia, whatever. It's like there was always this part of me that was in deep surrender and co-creation to the divine. And I feel that there are truly some of us who came here to essentially be these vessels or channels to offer this alternate paradigm and way of being or operating in the world. And it's not something that's mainstream, right? That there are certain people, and if you're listening to this, you're probably one of them, okay, that are destined to birth this new planet, right? To assist Gaia ascension, like collective healing and a complete reclamation of our sovereignty, of our God spark. And this is who you are and the path you're here to walk and model for other humans. But it's like this, how do I want to put it? It's almost like it's the way that your energy works. And it's like this coding that you've been coded with since birth. So like I said, you're here to model and walk this path. So there's no manual, there's no blueprint. It's something that you truly have to figure it out as you go. And I think that's what trips many of, vessel way beings or, spirit led people up. I think that's where they get caught up or experience the most resistance. It's because they're constantly looking outside of themselves, right? Looking for the answers, looking for the strategy, looking for the teacher, right? Looking for that like magical thing, that missing piece that's going to give them the fulfillment, the liberation, right? The pleasure. And it's like you keep trying on all these different things essentially, and it's like nothing really feels good, nothing really fits. Or maybe you're like me and you've noticed that you've tried different like modalities, like I'm trained in so many different things, in different, classes, different mentors, and you always were left hungry. You always were leaving there feeling like you wanted more. And it's because those specific teachings maybe sparked a remembrance, but didn't tap into the unique coding that you carry. Right? They don't have access to truly how your energy works, how you're wired to operate. So it's always like a part of you continues to feel out of reach, untapped, untouched. Okay. Like, how many of you, as I'm saying this, can relate to this, where it's like you're constantly left feeling like, oh my gosh, like there's this thing, but I'm not quite sure what it is, right? This is clear signs that you probably are a vessel. And what really happens is we get to this point in our lives where we have to start getting out of the boxes. We have to start letting go of the labels, right? We have to really just own that we necessarily don't fit or don't belong to the certain paradigm or to, this mainstream way of being, whether that be success, relationship, expression, just how to live your life, etc. And truly begin to trust our channels and to start really claiming our desires, to start claiming things for ourselves and for our uniqueness, and people out there, I just want you to realize if this is resonating, and trust me, this ain't for everybody, sis. So if you're listening to this and this is going way over your head, with love and respect, this conversation ain't for you. Okay. It's just not for you. I'm talking to a very specific group of people, and if you're feeling activated or like fully seen by this, then this is for you. We need to know that we're not alone and that we truly are here to birth something new and greater together. One of the most common things I see in people who truly are here to live, as a vessel, as a channel from God, to be spirit led, the people who are the disruptors, the change makers, the blueprint changers, right? Like you deeply feel like you don't belong, right? You've always felt like the outcast. You've always felt like the outsider. And it's almost like we end up like creating war within ourselves or corrupting ourselves because we aren't tapping into our full capacity. It's like we keep trying to shrink ourselves, dim ourselves to fit somewhere where we truly don't belong in order to be accepted, in order to be the same, right? Like, how many of you have literally dimmed down your fucking radiance, your fucking brilliance, trying to be accepted or to fit into somewhere that you never were meant to be in the first place? God, like, as I'm saying this, I want to like slap my own self because I've done this so many times where I've essentially betrayed myself or abandoned myself in order to be accepted or valued somewhere else. Like, I think one of the biggest acts of violence we can do to ourselves and to our authenticity is literally to compare or to shrink ourselves. It's like so many of us just essentially like put ourselves on the sidelines and choose to go into hiding, and we do this for this false sense of safety when really, like, your soul, your essence, you incarnated here to create change and to birth something new. It's like the parts of you that you resist the most, that you hide the most, are literally like the portal and the doorway into your soul destiny, into what you really came here to do. And it's like, I know this for myself and so many people I work with. It's like they just want to go into hiding, right? They want to put themselves on the sidelines, and they just want to stay in their home, go live on a mountain in the woods in their own little, like, forest escape, and just spend their time on the inner plane, spend their times with, nature, just like not really living your life, not really, coming here to have a human experience. I know for myself early on my path, like I constantly felt like I didn't want to be here, right? And that I just wanted to like return back to where I was. But you have to understand that you are a soul, right? You are an energy, you are a consciousness having a human experience. And the most spiritual thing you can truly allow yourself to do is be fully present in your life, like 100% human while being 100% divine. And you literally incarnated on this plane to change your bloodlines, to help your family heal, to help the collective heal. Like, there's no coincidence that you're here at this time, and you came at such a potent time. Okay. You came at such a like pivotal time in humanity. And this is so exhausting to your soul, right? Like when your soul came here for a big mission, for a big path, and you just constantly have it being ignored and invisible, right? Like your soul came here to shake shit up, right? It didn't come here to be ignored or to feel invisible. And, if you keep waiting for the invitation or for them to offer you a seat, you're going to be waiting a really fucking long time. Okay. Disruptor, change maker, blueprint fucking changer who's listening to this. Like, it's time for you to build your own table. Okay. It's time for you to start honoring and running on the unique frequency that you came here to be. Like, it is your job to be the purest emanation of this soul truth, right? This is how you actually become trackable on the grids and in the inner planes. And I know that this conversation might like be way woo woo for some of you and maybe going over some of your heads. And like I said, like maybe this conversation isn't for you. However, for the people who are literally hiding their genius, hiding their radiance, hiding their gifting, like I want you to have this be an activation for you to turn up your light, right? To turn up your frequency, to allow yourself to be visible and just to really become an emanation of this soul truth. And so much of this has to do with you honoring like that unique soul codex that you came here with, right? So at the beginning, when I was speaking to you about being spirit led and being a vessel, right? This is a way that your energy works. It is something that you have been coded with since birth. Okay. And I guess a way to put it, it's almost like your energy mechanics, how you run your energy, and all the ways of being expression that you have access to. So I don't want you to confuse this with mindset, identity, or personality, or some kind of outer persona. What I'm really talking about is literally energy. It is the unseen aspect to you that cannot be tangibly, seen or expressed, but it's something that is deeply felt. Okay. And like I said, I feel that so many of us who came to really operate in this way, we get corrupted because we start looking for things outside of ourselves, right? We essentially become corrupted with external energy. It's like our templates, our blueprint, it almost gets like contaminated, for lack of a better words. And you have to understand that your vessel has a very specific energy configuration, right? It's coming back home to the truth of who you are and how your energy really works. And this isn't like a one size fits all approach because everybody's energy is unique. Okay. So then I feel like what happens for most people who are coded this way, it's like we go through some type of like revelation or this deep spiritual awakening. And it's like essentially like the light goes on. It's like the unveiling and letting go of all the false layers of self, conditioning, identity, right? It's like you wake up to the truth of who you really are, right? That there's so much more to you. And you start questioning yourself, you start questioning reality. And, I want you to realize that like you are literally born this way, but you're born into an environment. You're born into, essentially a coding that is distorted and doesn't support the full emanation essentially of your light. So if you are someone who carries this coding, right, like you've essentially come here to weave new codes. It's like, your soul is here as like a worker or you're on a business trip. And the work is really removing all the veils, all the seals, right, that keep you from, being the fullest of your God spark. And it's like these certain people came in to really have these contracts to support humanity, like on a collective level, on an ancestral level, on an individual level, and to really support the ascension of Gaia, right? And these people literally have these different activations or initiations that are preordained since birth, right? Like this was scheduled and contracted between you and God, you and your guides, you and your higher self. And these things, these initiations, these activations happen gradually because it's like we only can access like small pockets of our light, of our gifting coming back online, because if it happened all at once, it's like you would fucking fry your system. Like I'm having this imagery of this light bulb just exploding, right? Like it would be too much power, too much energy into the system when we have to work on our body's level to really expand and hold, the full capacity and range of our light. So bit by bit, we begin to awaken to these new codes, these new templates, these blueprints, It's like these little attunements or installations of our mission. And, sometimes this takes years. Sometimes this takes, you going into many voids, many dark nights of the souls, right? Sometimes this takes lifetimes. But the whole idea is that every time you go into, these different initiations, these activations, these voids, that they truly are happening by design to unlock and to install more codes and really to master your own energy and to awaken you to your soul's truth. And then after you go through, it's like these series of activations, initiations, remembrance, essentially, you step into this phase of emergence or being in just pure emanation, expression, where you are in the fullest of your light. You're walking your path, you're in alignment with your mission, and you are literally just being a pillar of light everywhere you go. This is when your soul really takes the lead and you're living spirit led and soul led. And this is a way different form of embodiment that we see, mirrored today in our collective. And I will say there are a few people that I really do seeing, being a pure emanation of their light, of their God spark, but it is very rare. And I think, we're coming from this paradigm where it's always, bigger, bigger, more, more, faster, faster. And truthfully, like if you are honestly a vessel and a channel, then there is a divine timing to it all. And most of us only embody a small, minute fraction of who we really are. And it's not about like becoming more. Truthfully, what I've realized is it's more about like the undoing, the unraveling, right? Especially if you're here, to be of service, if you are someone who has like a purposeful purpose, it's really your duty to come here to unlock your magic and to really, embody the path of your mission, because you're not here just for you. Okay. And if you're listening to this episode and you're still vibing with me, then I would say like you are here to be a mission soul. So, really, when we're talking about being spirit led and really just being a vessel for the divine, you're very like soul driven. It's not like you have a lot of these like personal desires, and not that they're completely gone, right? Because I definitely still have desires, but you get to a point where they're more secondary, where the mission comes first, where God comes first. And you can still have these like different preferences or desires, but it's not the thing that is driving you or pulling you forward, if that makes sense, right? It's like you being in this co-creation and communion with God. It's like that's what really begins to inform and direct you, like your desires and the actions of your life. And you know, if you do carry this specific coding, you know, just know that, it comes with a very special way of running your energy. You know, your personal healing really will become intertwined with like the collective healing and what you're truly here to do, be and emanate. You're taking on parts of collective blueprints that are corrupted or corrupting you. And through you being this pillar of light or this walking transmitter, you're here to really change and weave in these new codes simply just because of who you are, right? That's why so many of us are born into these bloodlines, relationships, places on the planet that need the most healing, because, you are operating at such a higher frequency. You are open, you are pure, you're not here just for you or on your own behalf, but to be this channel and to really like be receptive and in surrender or co-creation with the divine. And I think that's why so many of like the oracles or vessels, channels are women, because it is the feminine nature to be in, receptivity, to be in surrender, right? Where we're more in this state of allowance. And this doesn't mean that you're a people pleaser or passive or like like a martyr, okay? But it does mean that you get out of the way, you set the ego aside, and you truly let God move to you and through you. And it's almost like you just keep allowing God to move through you and really to direct your desires. Asking like, what does God want from me? Where is God guiding me to go, etc. And, this happens through the body. you know, your body is your doorway to the divine. And this is why so many, channels really need to be in good physical health, right? Being a vessel is body based. You're here to bring things through your channel, right? You're constantly downloading, receiving codes. You know, it's literally who you are, okay? So the role is for you to be able to hear and to be open and be in receptivity so that you can give birth to these new worlds, these new ways of being. And it's literally like a spiritual technology where you are being like penetrated and seeded by God. So if you're listening to this and you are feeling like this truly is your path and that you are here to be a vessel and to be led by something greater, then it's really important for you to just beginning to see yourself, owning who you truly are, not trying to change yourself, not trying to shrink yourself, not trying to be or fit into anywhere that you're not, and really just beginning to honor the unique energy and the frequency that you carry. Okay. Making sure that you have this clear channel, right? Every day, cleansing your channel, connecting with your body. You can do this through energy healing, but whatever it is, it's just like clearing is a necessity for you to do the work. You are constantly transmuting energy, and you need to make sure that you are so heavily anchored in your own frequency to do this. So like keep your keep your channel clear and make this a daily habit. I cannot stress this enough. If this is the only thing you take away, clear your channel, clear your channel, clear your channel. Get really anchored in the truth of who you are and how your own energetic mechanics operates. You know, I would really recommend you getting in deep devotion and really, showing up for yourself, for your body, for your spirit guides, every day. Like devotion is the antidote that you need, really getting into a deeper relationship with God, especially if you're in those moments of transition, void, rebirth, where you feel like you're going through an initiation. This is when you need devotion more than ever, okay? Because what you're being invited and asked into is back into a reclamation of your truth, of your essence, of your own divinity. So devotion in your relationship with God is everything, you know? And as you lean more into your devotion, it's so much easier for you to, you know, have discernment and really find those callings or those things that are truly in alignment for you and what you're here to be an emanation of and what you're here to teach and what you're here to be in service of, you know, and just continuing to honor your truth, right? Honor embodiment, like working with the body, working, with your intuition, working on all the aspects of self that are not in alignment or an emanation of your truth, of your light. It's like how much light, how much energy, how much radiance, can I bring into the body, into the soul? And really just falling in love with the journey, knowing that when you're a vessel, it's not about an end destination, but about who you are being every day, enjoying your life, being happy, like filling up your vessel with so much joy and so much love so that, it feels truly supported and wants to be fully anchored here to do the work. So if you're really resonating with this episode and you feel like, this is you and that you are someone who truly carries, the vessel coding, then my invitation for you today is to be courageous, to give yourself permission to do things your way. Because if you're anything like me, and I'm guessing you are, you came here to shake shit up. You came here to be a bridge. You came here to birth and to create things that have never been seen here before. So we have to stop looking outside of ourselves for the validation, for evidence, and really begin to honor the unique set of energetic mechanics that you and only you came here to be and to express. So stop being so destination driven and really allow the divine roadmap to unfold in front of you. Follow the breadcrumbs, follow your curiosities, follow your desires, because those are the doorway to the divine, into your essence, into your truth. And the more that you can truly just open your heart and get into the state of receptivity, surrender, allowance, and co-creation with God, this is when your vessel coding and template and unique set of, gifting, energetic signature frequency really has the capacity to fully come online and to be expressed. So I want to say that I see you, that I honor you, and those unique desires, those callings were placed in your heart because you are 100% the person to come and birth and create them. Stay blessed. If this episode has left you wanting more and really becoming curious about what is my emanation, what is my radiance, what is my essence, then let me just tell you, working with clients in deep portals of transformation and rebirth is my absolute most favorite thing to do. Like, I am obsessed. I truly believe that my work here on this planet is to really be a guide that helps women reawaken to the innate wisdom of their body, to become so rooted in the embodiment of their essence, and to find courage to walk a unique soul led path. And I am someone who loves to dive into the mystery, who loves to explore the shadow world, who loves going into the places that most coaches don't even like to touch. So if you are ready to really dive into your depths, to meet yourself, to meet your medicine, to meet your magic, I am reopening the doors to my group program Emergence this October. And if you are wanting more now, I have a few ways that you can do so. I'm going to be hosting a free live transmission called Pleasure, A Pathway to Healing, where we're really going to begin diving deep into this and what it means to have a connection with your body, with your pleasure, with your eros, and how to use that as a gateway to the divine. And if you're someone who likes to do things at your own pace, I do have a transmission called Woman, which is a live transmission and energetic cleansing to really activate and heal the womb space, which we all know is also the portal way to the divine. So many juicy, delicious ways to activate your remembrance and activate your magic. Click the link in my bio. Have a great day. Thank you so much for joining me today for another juicy episode of Shadow Priestess Embodied. I absolutely love diving in and having these conversations with you all. If this is an episode that you found intriguing, that you found some nuggets in, please share it with a friend and be sure to subscribe and follow me so you can be present for all of the upcoming transmissions, activations, and downloads that I'll be bringing to our community. Have an absolutely magical day, and I'll see you soon.